بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين. Today we'll talk about the Palestinian novel. Of course, this is د.زلفى, you know. Today we'll talk about the Palestinian novel. We've already shed light on the Palestinian literature after the First World War, the modern Palestinian literature after the First World War, under the British mandate. And today we will shed light on one of the literature genres, which is Palestinian novel. The first Palestinian novel was written by the novelist Khalil Beidas, who wrote his novel الوارث, The Inheritor, which was published in 1920. We want to see what were the themes addressed in الوارث, and was it at the level of the Palestinian issue, the so dangerous Palestinian issue? I want you to answer these two questions. However, I'll give you some information about that, but you have to go and read and to collect information in the exam. I don't feel it is enough to have the information here. Okay. Beidas referred before. It shed light, two themes were addressed in الوارث. It shed light on the Zionist immigration to Palestine, which was facilitated by the British mandate. Only it shed light. Then it referred to the impact of Jewish leaders on the Palestinian economic life. Beidas referred to the character of Shylock, the moneylender, who was mentioned in Shakespeare's Merchant of Venice as a non-human one. So he was hated in Europe. This character was an example of a Jewish character which was hated in Europe. Okay, I want you to collect information about Shylock and to write a paragraph about it. You have to know who's Shylock, how did Shakespeare portray him, any other, what did he mean? What did Shakespeare mean by that? Why did he do that? Now, collect information about the Zionist project in Palestine, his beginning, his stages, the results we see now, it's Israel, and so on. Was الوارث novel at the level of the Palestinian issue? Explain. You have to collect information to answer this question. However, I will give you some hints, but you have to collect information to find the answers. Okay. الوارث was not at the level of the Palestinian issue because it only shed light on what was happening. It did not advise doing anything. It did not, for example, advise resistance or did not advise Palestinian people to resist and so on. Other Palestinian storytellers, not only Beidas, but other Palestinian storytellers wrote novels such as Alexander Khoury, Muhammad Izzat Darazi, Jibril Abu Sa'da, and Ishaq Musa al-Husseini. As to Ishaq Musa al-Husseini, he wrote a famous novel, which is also an example of novels which were written under the British mandate in Palestine. Al-Husseini wrote a novel entitled as مذكرات دجاجة, The Memoirs of a Mother Hen. It was published in 1943. What was the theme addressed in مذكرات دجاجة? And was the novel at the level of the Palestinian issue? Also, you have to explain. I'll give you some hints, but you have to read and to collect information yourself and to write your own comments. Now, the mother hen considered the Palestinian issue as predestined, شيء مقدر. The story used animal characters to express the opinions and the beliefs of the author, who believed that there was no need to military resistance of those people who came to Palestine, the intruders who came to Palestine and usurped Palestine, killed people, or who are planning that time to kill people and to take Palestine as a homeland for them, the Zionists. It was something strange how the mother hen treated the topic. We will see here what or how did the mother hen advise her children. Look here at the comment. And I want you to comment on this piece or on this quotation. You've got no choice but disperse across the world. لا خيار لكم سوى الانتشار في العالم. And preach the value of the virtue and convince the aggressors, the Zionists, that their aggression will not pay off. They will not win anything from their aggression. Only to convince, only to talk to them, not to resist them in the way they are coming with weapon. They are planning to kill people, to commit massacres. So how to convince these people to stop their aggression? Only then would you be able to resolve a large problem of which yours is only a part of. Yani, she says that this is a universal problem, that some people are aggressive. So when you convince people to stop aggression, in general, you stop these people to stop aggression. And I am pretty sure that we shall meet again in this very home after we have purified the world from those who strayed away from the right path. So she wants to change the values of the world, and she wants to change the beliefs of the aggressive people, and then as a result of that, she may come back to her country. Now, although this mother hen is quite aware of the fatal danger threatening to exterminate her very existence, and she knows that these people are coming to put an end to Palestinian people on Palestinian land, to kill people, to usurp the land, and to establish their state, she resorts to a moral philosophy. She wants to recover her country by convincing people to be fair and not to kill, which is nonsense. Okay, this was the story of mother hen or مذكرات دجاجة at the level of the Palestinian issue. Comment. Okay, you have to collect information to connect. Now, let's go to the Palestinian novel after 1948, النكبة. Many pioneers of the Palestinian novel started to write about النكبة. In a way, the novels they wrote were similar to the modern Western novels. Among these people among these novelists were Ghassan Kanafani, which was in the exile after the Exodus, Emil Habibi, which stayed in Palestine and lived under the Israeli control, Anton Shammas, and Sahar Khalifa, which lived in Nablus in the West Bank. The most famous Palestinian novelist is Ghassan Kanafani. Who is Ghassan Kanafani? Here is a caption about his life. As he was born in a rich family with a father who was a lawyer, and he was sent to Le Frère school, a French school. Only rich people used to go to it. Now, but in 1948, his family was forced to leave Palestine. They went to Lebanon, then they left to Damascus. Slide 17. Now, here we are talking about Ghassan's life, and I want you to answer a question, whether he was an example of a Palestinian in the exile, about the suffering of a Palestinian. Was he an example of the suffering of a Palestinian one in the exile? In the exile, he worked at a printing press. You see, worked at a printing press. Then he distributed a newspaper and worked at a restaurant in the daytime, and followed his studying or pursued his studying at night until he obtained the intermediate school certificate in 1953. And then he worked as an art teacher in Damascus, Honorwa Damascus School. After that, he did not stop studying. He continued his studying. He joined his sister in Kuwait to work as a teacher. He worked in Kuwait as a teacher, but also he continued or pursued his studying in Damascus University to study Arabic language. It was by correspondence, okay? Also, he started his political life. That time he started his political life. Kanafani left after he left Kuwait. He worked in Al-Hurriya magazine, which was published by the Arab nationalist movement, حركة القوميين العرب. Then, so he worked as a journalist, as a politician, someone who works in politics. He met George Habash, the founder of the Popular Front of Palestine Liberation, الجبهة الشعبية لتحرير فلسطين. Now he met George Habash, and he took part in founding the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine, the Front of the Liberation of Palestine, and he was elected to its political bureau. Then he became its official, and so on. So he started to write to their magazines. So he started his political life, which has another aspect through the Palestinian Front of Liberation of Palestine, which took military resistance as a path to liberate Palestine. So his life has a new aspect, which is military resistance. Talents of Ghassan Kanafani. Ghassan Kanafani was a man of great originality and many talents. You see, he was a journalist, he was a painter, he wrote a lot of novels and a lot of drew a lot of paintings. Okay, his published books were translated into 16 languages. So you can say he was a man of talents. Some of his novels and stories were turned into feature films or shorts, such as his first novel, Men in the Sun, in 1973, he was adapted into a feature film entitled The Deceived. It was adapted, The Men in the Sun was adapted into a film which is called The Deceived, and you are supposed to watch this film and to comment on. This film won the Golden Prize at Carthage Festival of Arab Cinema. Many critics consider this film as one of the most distinguished political films of the world cinema, occupying the 10th place in the list of 100 of most important movies of Arab cinema which addressed political issues. He also awarded other prizes for his writings. You can read about them. Ghassan Kanafani, here in the last slide, in slide 25, Ghassan Kanafani was a political activist who was deeply committed to the cause of Palestine, a man of letters, an accomplished artist, and one of the most prominent Arab novelists and modernist playwrights of the second half of the 20th century. But what I want to say, he was committed to Palestine, and he was committed to Palestine, and he was committed to resistance. This is Ghassan Kanafani. Again, I say he was a committed artist and one of the most prominent Arab novelists and modernist playwrights of the second half of the 20th century, but he committed to Palestine. All of his work, all of his literary work and military work and political work was directed towards Palestine and liberation of Palestine. Ghassan Kanafani, in his early literary writings, in Ghassan Kanafani's early literary writings, Palestine was depicted as a cause in itself. Now here, as the main cause. As the main cause in itself,